Good morning and welcome everybody to Chakras, Adversity and Choice, The Connection with my sweet friend Connie Boucher. Good morning, Connie. How are you?
No, I am awesome, and I'm so happy to be here. So thank you for inviting me to do this.
Well, I'm excited because I every so often my throat chakra and my root chakra get mixed up.
That's fun. All right, so I love this first slide because this is so pertinent to where I've been. That sometimes in life crap happens, and
Yes.
for me, I've been through a lot of crap lately. So that's why, when you said let's do another chakra webinar, I was thinking, what do we talk about? I don't want to just rehash some old thing that we've done before.
Right.
So I started thinking how I could do this, and I thought, oh, well, this is easy. You just talk about how chakras play into adversity, because for so many, I mean, for months and months, and ever since my chakra book came out, I would teach classes and tell people that the reason why you need to understand how your energetic system works and what you need to do to keep yourself in good working order is because at some point in all of our lives something happens, and that's really hard to deal with. It just kind of flips us off of our orbit, and if we are don't have a good energetic foundation, which is what the chakras are, we don't manage very well. And I've had an opportunity to practice my talk, if you will. Like, I've been able to see what happens when you think you're in good shape and then something happens that just completely undoes you. And so in my case, in case you don't know, I had a perforated valve on March 10th, and I didn't know it was perforated. I just knew I was really sick. Kind of thought I had an extreme flu, and I was passed out a lot of the time. The pain was so bad. It just never occurred to me to go to the hospital because I haven't done that. I haven't been to a doctor or taken medicine before this happened for 24 years. And so I didn't have a thing in me that said go to the hospital. I just thought I'll get better because I always do. And I tried doing some things. And I was so sick I wasn't thinking clearly. And finally, on Monday morning, Craig and I both knew this isn't getting better. We need to go get this checked out. We went to the emergency room, and as soon as I was sitting in the wheelchair, and as soon as they opened the door to call my name, I passed out. I don't remember, I kind of vaguely remember getting a CAT scan, and I remember the surgeon waking me up and saying, you need to sign this paper giving us permission to do whatever we can to try to save your life, but we're not optimistic. He said there's a really good chance you're not going to make it through surgery just because you've been so septic for so long. So I signed the paper and thought, fine, whatever, just put me back to sleep because at least I'm not feeling anything.
Okay, but
So
Connie, wait. The beginning part you forgot, which was, please, people need to hear this part. You already were clean inside. You
yes,
already were choosing water as a beverage and not indulging in sugar, and you were careful about vegetables. And I can't
yes,
remember the last time you had meat. So people needed to know you had prepared your body in a funny kind of way to
yeah.
survive this extraordinary bad thing.
Well, and I actually hadn't eaten for those 4 days. All I did is like maybe a few sips of water. I didn't, so I hadn't been eating, which actually helped them a lot too. So anyway, when I woke up, I was in surgery for 4 hours. Took 2 hours to get me to wake up in recovery, and then when I did wake up, they were had another piece of paper for me to sign and said, "This is so that we can stop your heart and shock it because you're going to have a heart attack if we don't." And so I signed that paper, and then when I came out again the second time, because my heart rate was over 100, and when I came to again, that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I have this ostomy bag, and I was a little panicked, and the nurses said, "Don't worry, it's temporary, just till you heal." Anyway, it was so then that started a 3 week stint in intensive care. I was in ICU. During that time, I couldn't eat. I went almost 9 days without food, and I just couldn't get food down me at that point. I had edema, severe edema. I'd gained 50 pounds of edema, of water weight. I had fluid in my lungs. I was on the verge of pneumonia. I kept getting these raging infections. And so they put a drain in my butt cheek, which didn't work. So then they ended up having to do that 2 more times. Extremely painful, unpleasant. It would then paralyze all the muscles in my whole butt, so I couldn't hardly move. And then they'd make me walk. I mean, it was just horrific. The whole time I was in the hospital, I had uh, multiple tests and scans every day. So they were trying to figure out what was, this whole drain thing because I had so much infection. And my body went into a fetal position. I just curled up. I couldn't straighten out at all. I was on tons of meds. I was so hooked up to everything. And I was just plain in pain and miserable. It was horrible. And finally, I got out of the hospital. I got home and I laid on my bed or on the couch for another 6, 7 weeks. And I really couldn't do anything for myself. During that time, I was really weak. I still didn't have an appetite. It was a struggle to get any food down. I threw up a lot of the time, in the mornings especially. We just start dry heaving or throwing up. And I lost all my motor skills were shot. I had very poor coordination. Every time I would try to lift anything or carry or like even watering a plant, I would spill it. The water would dump all over. So that would put me into a big crying thing. I was in so much pain. And then I took so many pain meds. I got into this, I could tell I was starting to get into this addicted thing. And so I had to just go cold turkey and really cut that back. And that was miserable. Anyway, I finally got through that. So that was what my first 3 months were after this surgery. So, which brings us to the emotions. Um, it's when you're in a situation that's really hard, it is very normal to be upset and just feel like everything has been wrong. And for me, I was frustrated, like so frustrated and sad and depressed. And I felt sorry for myself. Like it was hard. Every day was just a struggle. It was so hard. And I didn't want to see people because I didn't want to, I just felt crummy and I couldn't dig anything up beyond crummy. And I didn't want to complain, but if they came around, that's what I did. And the worst thing was when people came and tried to give me little cheery pep talks because I just wasn't in a place to receive it. But I did understand that staying there is a problem. And so I really, man, I prayed a lot. I just chose, I kept thinking about all the things I believed in and taught all the time in the past. And I realized that I was letting this be a burden. I was becoming bitter. I was really being a victim. And I knew I had a choice. And I could either see it as a burden or a blessing. I could see it as bitter or better. Or I could see it as a victim or victor. And so I decided that I wanted to change my attitude. And at that point, it took a little work. But fortunately, I did start feeling a little better, which also did help with that. But, I had to dig really deep within me and just say, I have a choice. I don't have to stay in this place emotionally. This is what happened to me. And, one of the first things I realized, too, after it happened when I was in the hospital, it was so crazy because I looked down and, think about 50 pounds of water, and it was all from the top of my stomach on down. I looked like I was 6 or 7 months pregnant. Because I had so much infection, my butt was enormous. My legs were huge. My feet were so big I couldn't get flip-flops on. And I remember thinking, just like, oh my gosh, what happened? How did I get like this? And I had the thought come into my head really clearly. You can fight this, you can kick against it, or you can surrender. And so I remember thinking, I'm going to surrender to it. But I had to keep surrendering to it over and over and over. It wasn't like a one-time thing. So I just decided, okay, I got this choice. And then, interestingly, what really pulled me out of it were just going along the chakras and all the stuff we're going to talk about. And I didn't even really realize this at the beginning. And then one day I thought about it. I thought, oh my goodness, I've been doing this. So I had to start with your root chakra emotions. Like this chakra has to do with feeling rooted or grounded and belonging, fitting in. And how do you contribute? And so one of the things that I realized, okay, so let me just give you a point of reference really quick too, of just how sick I was. When I went in the hospital, my sepsis level was 66. And the doctor told me later, about a week later, one of the doctors came in that had worked on me, and he said, just so you know how sick you are, he said a level of 15 to 16 is alarming. 20 we consider dangerous. You were 66 and had been for days. And he said, a week after surgery, you're still at 38. Like it didn't come down really fast. So he told me, he said, you should have died. The only reason that you didn't, he said it was a miracle, but he said you were strong. Your body was really healthy. And that's where what you were saying, Dr. Sue, that I had done things to prepare myself. I have done my best to take care of myself and eat well and put good supplements in, and I used oils, and it really did help me. But the bottom line was I could have, should have died, and I didn't. And so I had to look at myself as I'm trying to dig myself out of this funk and think, why am I even here? Like, how do I fit in? And I had to figure out that I had worth, even in this, really distorted, broken state. Felt like it was just really not myself. But I had to go back and say, well, why are you here? How do you fit in? And one of the things that came to me was that I was gaining some experience that would help other people, that I was gaining wisdom and understanding at a level I couldn't get any other way if I didn't go through that I was gaining compassion. And then, and that really helped me to think, okay, I'm here for a reason. And so it really, pulled me back in and rooted me and grounded me into just even being alive and made me grateful. And then I moved to the sacral chakra. This was a little trickier because the sacral chakra has to do with, our dreams, our excitement about life, passion. And I wasn't passionate about anything. I felt like the air, I love the image of a flat tire or a flat ball when it comes to sacral chakra, because if we don't have enthusiasm, that's what happens. We just become flat. And I was very, very flat. I felt like everything that I ever cared about or wanted or was excited about, just the air went out of everything. And so I thought, what do I even want to do? Like, what do I even, you know, what do I even care about for the
You
rest of
didn't
my
have an
life?
appetite, honey. You had an appetite for nothing, not
Yeah,
food. You didn't care about presents coming, people coming over to be nice to you. It was actually painful for you.
yeah. And so many people were kind to me. I got so many flowers and cards and gifts, and I was grateful. But at the same time, I was so sick, it was really hard for me to appreciate what was coming or process it even, you know. Um, it was an interesting place to be in. But I would listen to Craig talk about things he was excited about, and I wasn't excited about anything. And so I had to really dig to figure out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, or what I even wanted. And so one of the things that helped me with that was to write down, or just in my mind compartmentalize things I was excited about. And then when you come to the solar plexus chakra, this was another area I struggled, because I would look in the mirror and I would think, oh my gosh, who is this person? I lost 30 pounds really rapidly. And I'm going to tell you that's exciting in some ways, because I've tried to lose weight for many years and it just wouldn't come off. And so now the smaller size. But when you're in your late 50s and you lose that much weight that fast and you're that sick, it's not attractive. It just hangs on you in this crepey manner. And the other thing that happened is my hair started falling out in handfuls. And every time I would touch my hair, a handful would come out. And so I would look in the mirror and I would think, where did I go? Who is this person? And at first I couldn't even smile. And I realized how much um, I liked how I looked before versus how I was liking how I looked this time. And so once again, I had to really dig to figure out what my value was, and choose into loving this new person in the mirror and seeing my value. And, I remember when I could finally smile again, just smiling and saying, I love you. And at first it was kind of awkward, but the more I did it, I had this little shower chair I had to order because I couldn't just stand and take a shower, and I couldn't sit in the tub. And So I sat in this little shower chair and I pull it in front of my sink and I would just sit and look at it, at myself in the mirror. And I would say, I love you. And the more I said it, the more I realized I really did. And I would talk to myself. I'd say, you're really awesome. Like, you're doing this. You got it. And it really helped me to remember that my value doesn't have anything to do with just how I look. And one of the things that helped me was to think, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience rather than the other way around. Because when I would put it that way, it would put it in perspective. So, and then the heart chakra. This one, this probably helped me when I got in touch with this part of myself. This probably helped me heal as much as anything. And I would say gratitude was the thing that helped me the most because I started thinking of the things I was grateful for. And I was too sick to write it down. But I started thinking, just mentally in my mind, counting my blessings. And it was really hard for me to even think straight in the beginning because because of being septic for so long, it shut my brain off, if you will. I would be thinking or talking, and I still do this, but not as much. And there'll just be like a blank spot for a minute, and I forget completely I just be quiet and I can't think. And then all of a sudden I'll think, oh yeah, I was saying this, and it'll kind of come back to me. But so as I'm so sick, I would just lay there. And I still do this. And I just make big lists of things I'm grateful for. Whenever I start feeling sorry for myself, I think, yes, but you have, like in my case, because I have this ostomy bag, I'm really grateful that I have wipes and I buy a big case of them at Costco. I have toilet paper, plenty of toilet paper. I can flush. I have a washer that works to wash everything that gets dirty often. And I have diffuser and essential oils, and somebody collects the garbage every week, things like that. I mean, just really basic things. And then I take it out further to people and just to the good things in my life. That has really helped me. But this heart chakra, one of the things that really strengthens it is to forgive. And I think also as that is just being accepting of the situation, not trying to control it, just letting it go and accepting it for what is.
You mentioned surrender earlier. What kind of
Mhm.
thoughts did you think that you just said, okay, then I'm going to recover?
That was it. I just said, look, you're alive. You're going to get better. Look at what you have going for you. And at the end of every day, I mentally, sometimes I actually write it down. A lot of times I don't even feel good enough to do that. But I will go over my day and think of all my blessings. And it really, really helps. And honestly, I've had a lot of breakdown moments. I've had a lot of moments where I just fall apart and think, this is too hard. I can't do it. And what helps pull me out of that is thinking of what's right in my life and being grateful for it.
Right. And honey,
And
you have to be fair, honey. Sometimes you were highly emotional. Part of it was the medication that was trying to help you recover. Let's just be fair. Yes, you had moments, but also there were contributing chemical factors. You have to go gentle on yourself.
right, right. And you have to be true to yourself. And in this case, true to yourself can look a lot of different ways. You have to be authentic. You have to listen to what your heart's saying and honor that. And in this case, being true to myself was just being honest about how I was feeling and acknowledging that. But then not saying with that, don't stay with the self-pity thing, because I felt sorry for myself. But after I would get through feeling sorry for myself, I would quickly go to all the good things in my life and the things I was grateful for that were making it better. And that helped immensely. So the throat chakra has to do with expressing emotion. And when we're bitter, when we say mean things, it actually helps close off this chakra. And so you want to be honest. I love this image of this girl that she's got all this stuff she wants to say, and yet she can't quite say it. It gets stuck in her throat. And how often do we do that? I used to do it a lot. And so for me, the fine line was not to be so honest about how I was feeling to everyone else because it was really a turnoff. Um, I remember a couple of times people saying, family members saying, well, why don't you just tell us how you really feel, Connie? And I realized, okay, you need to bring that in a little bit. So for me, I would voice, just when I would be alone in my bed, I would just speak out how I was feeling. I feel this, I feel that. I would cry it out. So I was getting it out. It wasn't staying in me. And then, I had to choose to use kinder words, to choose words that were a little bit more elevated. And, um, try to talk to people in a way that was a little bit more kind and have a little more finesse. And
Well, people
then
did ask you, how are you feeling? They had to expect an honest answer.
that's true, but you can't vomit out that answer, and I was doing a little bit of that for a while. So I had to rein it in. I realized that my honesty and how I was feeling was just a little bit. It was kind of going to the point where it wasn't serving me anymore. So, you have to kind of weigh that out. And one of the things I tell people is if you have something you need to say, but words can be really, really hurtful. And if you're going to say something, even though it's in you to say it, but it's going to be hurtful to someone else, there's probably a better way to get that emotion out than just purging it on someone. And so writing it, and that's where I would say and talk to myself, talk it out to no one, just talk it to an empty room. So it would help get that emotion out, and I would cry about it, and then I would choose to do it different. I would say, okay, I'm not going to act like that anymore. That's not serving. It's not helpful for me to sit and be mean as I'm telling everyone how bad I'm feeling. And so I had to get it out, but not get it out on someone where I was going to ruin their day too. And then another thing that really strengthens this chakra is some people say affirmations, but when I'm in front of my mirror, I'm not calling it an affirmation. I'm calling it a declaration because I'm declaring something. And so I thought about, in the beginning, I didn't even, a shower or brushing my teeth was like going to the top of a mountain. It was really hard. I was just so sick. I had no energy. So when I finally got to the point where I could actually manage a shower or something by myself every day and I could get myself cleaned up a little bit, I would get my shower. It would just be exhausting. I'd drink I have to have chlorophyll water by me so I could, keep taking sips of water to keep myself going until I was finally out and I'd finally kind of get dressed. And I mean, it was a process. And then I would sit in front of my mirror on my little shower chair and I would look at my chakra oils, which I keep in my bathroom, and I would think about declarations and I would think about the things I used to say and I would start crying because it just wasn't in me to sit there and say them. And so but I know how important that is. So I finally would get to this point where I would put the chakra oils on, like I say, how to do my book, and then I would pick one thing to say. And for a while it was, I'm happy and excited about being alive. And then, I would just have a statement. Another one I said a lot is I'm perfect just as I am, and I'm having a perfect experience for me. And
And you said
and
it
then
out
as I
and you said it out loud.
yes, I say them out loud, and a lot of times you'd see my face as I'd say it, and I'm like, that's totally unbelievable. So I would practice it, and I would say it and say it until I could see there was some belief in my face. And then, oh, and then I was supposed to have a surgery. I was scheduled for July 14th to have a reversal, on this bag. And when I went in and did the test, which they stick dye up your rectum and anyway, they see if there's any leaks. I still had a lot of leak. And so I didn't get to have that test and I had to go to I got sent to now a specialist. And she said, I think you're going to have another surgery. You're going to have another surgery. I don't think you've healed right. And that was really, really hard for me. And anyway, I did have to have the surgery. And after that, it brought up a lot of fear. So now I'm scheduled to go back in for the last surgery on the 26th of October, and I was really afraid. I mean, I've just been thinking, what if it doesn't heal right? What if there's a problem? What if I never get rid of this bag? And one day I realized, oh my gosh, you're just going into this fear place. So then I started a new declaration, and this is what I've been saying. I'm healing perfectly, and my body is getting healthier and stronger every day, or my rectum is getting healthier and stronger every day. And so, I just have picked whatever is I need to know, whatever I need to believe, and that's been my declaration. And so that's where I'm at right now. And then, another thing that I've been doing recently is that Dr. Sue came up with these amazing cards, and if you don't have them, you need to get them. And they're affirmations and oils. And I love it because I now will put those on. And so I will go through the cards and find what I think I need, take it in my bathroom, and take the oils with me. I put those oils on and I say that declaration. And so that's been one way I've been healing myself and really strengthening my throat chakra.
I'm glad you
Okay,
like
so
them.
I love them. They're great. Thank you for creating them. So then the last two chakras are the third chakra, third eye, and the crown. And so I'll talk about one and then the other. But I really think of them as sister chakras because the more I understand them, they're so connected to each other. What strengthens one strengthens the other. What weakens one weakens the other. So, but this chakra is about being tuned in and seeing what's going on. And it has to do with intuition. And it also has to do with our left side of our brain. And so a lot of times stuff's going on around us and we are absolutely oblivious. We are just completely tuned out to it. And so for this chakra to be strong, we have to be really going within and seeing what's going on. And this, in this case, for me, I've had to ask, why? Why this? Why am I experiencing this? What is the lesson? And as I've done that, I've gotten some interesting perspective that I wouldn't have gotten another way. And like I said, one thing I've realized is I had some issues that I believe I've had since I was a kid. And even though I've done everything I can to take care of myself in a general sense, I still have had these problems. And one of the things as I've gotten as I've prayed about it and just listened and pondered is that some things are being healed for me at a really deep level. And I keep hearing the words, be patient and trust the process. And this is from the beginning. And so that's been really helpful to be able to have that perspective. And also just, the bottom three chakras really have to do with how we fit into the physical world. And then the top, the last top three chakras have to do with how we connect spiritually. And the heart is the bridge. It connects the two and just pulls everything together, if you will. So it's been really helpful for me to understand things the way I understand them and also to be able to have practiced before I got to this point. Okay, so when you come to the crown chakra, so the third eye is left brain, the crown chakra controls the right side of the brain. When it comes to the crown, this is where it has to do with inspiration. So this is where we connect to divine energy and we listen. A lot of times, and I've just been guilty of this my whole life, I want to do everything myself. I just want to, go out there and I want to make things happen. And we need to be doing, obviously. But when I got into this place, there were a lot of things I couldn't do. And there were so many times that I prayed. And I've always been grateful that I believe in God, that I'm in the habit of praying, that when things went really crappy fast, I didn't feel like I was alone. I could at least talk to God. And I have to tell you, there have been a number of times, a lot of times, when I've been in those breakdown moments and I've just prayed. And it's been a really basic, simple prayer where I've just said, Dear Heavenly Father, I can't do this. This is too hard. This is hurting too much. Please take it from me, or just hold me, or just carry me. Take this pain away. And as I'm praying and just talking, this very simple, basic prayer, just talking like I'm talking to a parent who I need help, I start feeling better. And as I'm praying, I'll just say, thank you. I'm feeling better already. That has helped me so much. I promise prayer does change things. And I am grateful that I had that understanding before. Because, when I went back and I was looking at the whole, progression from the root chakra up, there hasn't been one single area of my life that I haven't needed prayer. It has helped me. It's given me the strength to get through this, literally, emotionally, and physically. It's made it made sense. It's made it so that I feel like I can do it. And I'm so grateful for that connection. And if nothing else, this has helped me become more connected spiritually. It's shut me down, so I'm not trying to do every minute, and I'm just allowing things to happen. And so I think that's a gift. I'm really,
It
it's
really is.
just,
It
this
really
is a
is
very
an
important
amazing
chakra.
gift. Amazing gift, Connie.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, I'm very grateful that I can pray, and I'm grateful that I understand that prayer is just a simple act of asking your creator to help you. And that can be that simple, and then being grateful. And being grateful for what you have, to me, is like my prayer. Sometimes that's all my prayer is just, I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you. And those are both really powerful prayers, just asking and then being grateful. Okay, and then oils. Oh, I'm so grateful for essential oils. They have helped me. I can't imagine not being able to have them during this really hard time. And these are my oils that I have come up with for chakra balancing. And the reason why is because I know they work and they smell amazing when you get them all on together. And, after I did my book, Roman chamomile was not available anymore. And so I used Clary Calm, works really well. But you can just use an oil that you're drawn to. I don't feel like you have to just use any certain oil. I think that your intention and just using an oil that's speaking to you is really powerful. These oils smell good, they work. I chose Grounding Blend, obviously, for the root chakra. And wild orange is great for creativity, it's great for abundance energy. So that was a perfect match for me, in my mind, to the sacral chakra. I chose lime for the solar plexus because lime is great for helping you get this renewed zest for life. And I needed that this time, really needed that. But before that, that's why I chose it. And it just, it works. And then for the heart chakra, lemon. And I chose lemon because lemon just helps dissolve hardened emotion and anger. And it brings in this sunshine, happy energy. And so it's a natural fit for me for the heart. And then for the throat, I came up with bergamot because bergamot's good for helping you feel comfortable in your own skin. And for me, I've always had a hard time allowing myself to say what was on my mind because I didn't grow up in an environment that encouraged that. They made me feel like I was always out of line. And so it's hard for me to, has been hard for me in the past for me to say what I wanted to say because I was afraid people would judge me. And so I chose bergamot, and I don't feel like I'm alone. I feel like there's a lot of people like me. So bergamot just to help me feel comfortable expressing what I needed to say. And then Roman chamomile is great for helping you connect spiritually, help you become more connected intuitively. And so I put that on the third eye. And then for the crown, I like elevation a lot just because it's just this opening, lifting oil. Sometimes I will do frankincense too on either third eye or crown. So you can do whatever you want. I don't believe that you have to just use any specific oil. I just know these oils work, they're well, and they do smell really good. In fact, one of my favorite things about putting this combination on is when I go places, sometimes people will say, "What's that smell? It smells really, really good." And so it gives me an opportunity to talk about oils also.
Yes, and Roman chamomile, is coming December 1st.
Yes, everybody can buy one per count, so make sure you get that on your order.
Yes,
That and also Melissa,
yes. Stock
Christmas
up.
present.
People love it.
Yes. Okay, so bottom line, just to sum it up, you get to choose what your energy state is. And if you decide to be unhappy and in a funk, and it's understandable sometimes, but the reason you want to get out of there is it doesn't feel good to just be in this gloomy, depressed, powerless state. But also, this is where we become victims. We become weak. We, if we give into this feeling, this is where we become that burden, that big, bitter, and it also creates energy for us to be attacked. And so this is just not a good place to be in. So when you find yourself in these places where you're just down, realize it's okay, especially if you've had something traumatic happen. If you're in a really hard situation, it's normal to have those feelings. But find a healthy way to express them, to get them out as fast as possible and choose something different, because this is not a healthy state to stay in. And honestly, I have to say that when I finally realized you are just being a witch about this, like, so you've had something bad happen, so you're in a really hard space, you're being ugly, you're treating other people ugly, and you're turning them off, and they're not even wanting to be around you. And that's not a good feeling. And I did it.
I know, but you
And
know what? When I talked to you, Connie, you were
mhm,
aware and you were working to manage you in spite of your pain and in spite of the medication. It was an
yeah,
ongoing struggle. That was part of why you were so tired.
yeah. And it's normal. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you find yourself in this space, it's okay, but don't stay there, because when you stay there, it now you're just opening a world of really hard. So, if you find yourself in this space, or if you have someone that's there, understand there's a reason for it, but it's still not okay to stay there, because it will just make it worse. You've got to get out of it.
And
So you got to choose.
I love this design picture of yours. I love this.
I do too, because when you're feeling good, when you get in this space of being honoring yourself and taking care of yourself and choosing to really be this open, charged, energized person, you literally light up. You become powerful. This is where your trials or your adversity can make you better. They can be a blessing. They make you the victor, not the victim. And it really is a choice. And I know, because now I've talked it for a lot of years, and I've been through hard things before, but I have never been through anything like this. This thing completely undid me. And I saw myself naturally go into that dark place, but I also knew I can't stay there. And I've been able to pull out and be in a really good place. And it feels so much better. And I'm not out of the woods yet. I still struggle. I still have hard days. I still have breakdown moments. Um, you know, my hair's finally started growing back in, but it looks pretty funny. I've had to cut it really short. I don't have very much. There's so many things I can't do, but I choose in every single day. And when I fall off, I get back up really fast now. And it's rewarding, it's worth it. So I share my story because I hope that it will inspire someone who's listening, and I hope that it will help them deal with hard things in their own lives, even if it's someone else, and it's just understanding how to help them, understanding where they're coming from. But I promise that every one of us at some point in our life has to deal with something hard, and they're different. Our trials are different. Adversity is different for all of us, but we still have the same tendencies, and we still have that same ability to choose out and put ourselves in a better place no matter what. And it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And I still have people admire your book when they come over and we're teaching classes. I always have your book out because I never know people's background. And people are getting into yoga, people are getting into personal build the muscles without the big machines. They are doing Pilates. And so many of the centers that did Zumba are doing Zumba, but they're also doing yoga. And you have so many good suggestions in your book. It makes people happy.
Yeah, I actually really love this book. I think a lot of times the way you can tell if something's good is how it stands the test of time. And so this book's over 2 years old, and every once in a while I'll just open it up and start reading, and I think, I love this book. This is really, really good. I think that, and I'm usually critical of what I do, especially as time goes on. I'm like, yeah, that was a while ago. It's not so great, but I love this. And I think it's a great resource to have in your home. So I recommend it, and I do keep mine out, and I do look at it, and
Right. And some
I
of your fans are writing little notes to you, like Allison Toller, she's from Texas, and Terry, she is from Michigan. People are saying thank you for sharing your experience. It's giving them perspective and it's giving them courage. I mean, that's here right now live.
oh, well, good. I'm so glad. Thank you.
Yes, we are
I'm
very
grateful to
grateful.
know that. And you can get my book on Amazon and also Aroma Tools. I put it on Amazon because a lot of people don't know Aroma Tools, and it actually sells without me promoting it. I sell a book or two every week. Um, I recommend getting it from Aroma Tools. I love Aroma Tools. I love their energy. I love what they're about. I just love supporting them. Um,
They're real and honest, and they're not like now giving us cheap things after giving us all the high quality things. I'm very appreciative of Aroma Tools myself. They're honest
right,
and they don't play games.
right. I agree. Um, and if you're in Utah and you get a chance to go there, for sure do, because they have wonderful things that you can pick up there.
Right. And next year at the convention autographing, you will sit next to me instead of me trying to represent you. And I couldn't even answer yoga questions because you know I'm still not good at that.
You know, that's true. And I want to do yoga so much. I miss that. The thing about this bag, because of the surgeries, I've had two now major, major surgeries. And, I've had my stomach whacked into, and it doesn't quite lay like it used to. And the way the bag, it detaches, and there's this little seal. And so I've tried doing some yoga stuff, and I feel good enough I can do it now pretty much. But it pops the bag off. And it's so frustrating. I can't wait to get rid of the bag just so I can totally get into yoga again. That's one of my main things I want to heal. When it comes to exercise, I'm just like so yearning to do yoga, and I want to be rid of this bag so I can do it.
You will be
And
soon. Several
yes,
people are asking, may they know your email address because they wanted to
yes.
send you some little thoughts. Is that's
So
okay?
it's really easy. If you look at the front of my book, it's on there. It's super simple wellness at Gmail.
Okay.
And also, if you don't like my super if you haven't already liked my Super Simple Wellness Facebook page, like it. And every Monday we put on some new thing we're giving away. There's like a contest, and so you can enter to win. And I give something cool away every single week, and we do our book too.
I'm
So
not laughing at you, Connie. Our friend Pam Mann, who also had an ileostomy not too long ago, said, "At least, Connie, we fart into the bag and not the other way."
well, that is true. That is true. In fact, I was somewhere the other day, and there were little kids, and somebody had said somebody's letting air, and I said, well, it's not me. I don't even have that capability anymore.
We bag it.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I have compassion now for that. For anyone that has to have an ostomy, I really have a whole new point of reference for what that's like. And my heart goes out because it's a new way of doing things that takes some getting used to.
Yes, thank you again for your courage and your authenticity and telling us it's perfectly normal to feel bad when you have been this challenged this seriously. And it's perfectly normal to recognize you're feeling bad and feeling helpless to change it. And yet you found many ways to give yourself little baby steps out of the pit, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. It is baby steps. It's just a little choice. So there's a quote I really like, and I don't even know who said it, but it says, there is a choice that you must make in everything you do, but you must always keep in mind the choice you make makes you. And Truly, it is just those little choices that make you decide, that determine the sort of person you are or the type of life you're going to live. Because I think we create our realities. I did not, I don't believe that I had a thought that created this. Sometimes things just happen.
That's
And yet, how I chose to respond has affected who I am today and where I'm at today. Because if I would have stayed in that place of feeling sorry for myself, and I can understand how when people get in these really, really low down places where something's just completely taken them down, it could easily become their story if they chose to let that be. And I know someone who 20 years ago had something really hard happen, and she just that's her story now. She's in a wheelchair, she has no quality of life. It's like if she feeds that story. And, I'm not judging because I don't know her situation, but I know that I remember thinking, I'm not getting comfortable in this. I'm moving through it. This is not my reality. This is not my future. I am not staying here. And, there's a lot of really well-meaning people that will say, well, you may never be able to do this again. You may always have that. This may go wrong. You might, and I just would say, no, 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 no. I'm experiencing this, and then I'm going to be done with it. I am not going to live like this my whole life. I'm coming back. And it's hard. You have to fight. You really have to, you choose in every day. You have to work for it. It doesn't you don't just wake up one day and you're over it. When you're that far down, you've got to rebuild. And it's a choice every step of the way.
Yep, and you're doing it, and you're being very successful, and your countdown is going to be very effective. And we love you, precious Connie, and we look forward to the new thing you're putting together. And maybe you'll let us do some webinars on that too.
No, absolutely. So, when I said, what's my purpose? Where do I fit in? And that's two bottom chakra things, your root and sacral chakra. Those I really struggled with. Why am I still alive even? What do I even have? How do I fit? What's my thing? And then, what do I want to do? I just truly had to come up with something to get excited about. I had to say, well, you're still here. You've got something to offer. You need to be helping people. And I love being this age. I really do, because I'm no longer trying to prove anything. I'm just wanting to contribute and give good things and help people. And, I've had some crazy experiences. I can use that to help. I've gained some new perspective. And so that's what's pulled me out of this in lots of ways, is finding something to work on. So it's given me meaning, given me, something to do with myself and something to be excited about.
And
So yeah,
you also told me you're getting your sense of humor back.
I am. I can smile and laugh again. I couldn't smile for a long time, and I sure couldn't laugh. I mean, I really couldn't even get a smile to come on my face. I looked like I had been through a bomb, that shocked look. And I really did. My eyes were just like saucer open. And it was crazy. I'd look in the mirror and I'd think, who is this person? There was no smile. I couldn't even make myself smile. It was crazy.
But you're smiling now, and you're making a difference. Thank you again.
I am. It helps to smile too. When your hair looks really funny, if you smile, you just look better. That's all you got to say. Whatever,
We love
whatever, you
you,
just
Connie.
make the most of it. All right. Well, I love you too. Thank you so much for encouraging me to do this.
Thank you. And it is recorded, guys, and we're gonna see if we can get Uncle Paul to post it for us. And it will be on Connie's page and on mine when it gets recorded. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Love you.
Love you.